Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out The Film Geek. Today I'm talking about the 1996 film, Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy.
Es ist, als ruhe eine schwarze Grube in mir, die sich mit allen meinen verstärkenden und singenden des Nichts auffüllt. Als ob Entönigkeit und Rockerei der einzige Höhepunkt auf meinen dunklen Lebenswegen gewesen wäre. Und davor habe ich Angst.
I'm sorry, I don't understand German.
Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy is directed by Mackin, and it's starring the Kids in the Hall, Dave Foley, Bruce McCulloch, Kevin McDonald, Mark McKinney, and Scott Thompson. A pharmaceutical scientist invents a drug that allows people to relive their happiest moments. The drug is put into production, but is then found to have one terrible side effect. A little background on who the Kids in the Hall are. The Kids in the Hall are a Canadian sketch comedy group that formed in 1984. And then in 1989, from 1995, they had a TV show that aired on CBC in Canada, and then CBS, Comedy Central, and HBO in the United States. Brain Candy is the one and only film that the comedy sketch group ever made. Now, the film does have cameos from some of their characters, although these cameos really have nothing to do with the plot. They're more of a wink and a nod toward fans of the TV show. One of the character cameos was from the controversial character Cancer Boy, originally appearing in the final episode of the TV show in a sketch that satirized the idea of being as offensive as possible. Cancer Boy is played by Bruce McCulloch, dressed in a bald cap with pale white makeup, using a wheelchair. He relays depressing information with a cheerful smile, and in the film he releases a hit pop single entitled Whistle While You're Low. Many found the character to be in exceedingly poor taste. Paramount Pictures had fought extensively with the troupe to cut the character from the film, but to no avail. The group has expressed some regret over taking such a hardline issue over keeping the character in the film. They feel that Paramount was a little bitter and didn't fully market the film like they could have. Brain Candy was released April 12, 1996, and it grossed $2 million on a $7 million budget, making the film a pretty good sized financial flop. Critics were also divided on the film, giving it a decent score, and it's sitting on the tomatoes that are kind of rotten at a 43%. However, the audience score is sitting at a 77%. Needless to say, the film has gone on to become quite the cult classic. So what do I like about this movie? Well, first off, I feel this movie will appeal to people who are familiar with the Kids in the Hall and people who aren't familiar with the Kids in the Hall, because of the fact that it is a standalone film. It's not based off any of their comedy sketches. It's not based off of any of the characters on their show. It's a completely independent thing. And then using some of the characters as cameo in the film more or less act like Easter eggs for fans of the TV show. I think it works really well, and it makes the film a lot more accessible to a lot of different crowds. That being said, the Kids in the Hall were known for being a bit edgier with their comedy than other comedy troupes at this time. They're more on the outskirts and a bit more on the alternative comedy scene rather than something like, I don't know, Saturday Night Live. The thing I loved about these guys, I always felt like I was kind of watching something I wasn't supposed to be watching every time I watched the Kids in the Hall. And this movie is the same thing. It's a bit offensive, but then again, sometimes the best comedy makes you laugh and offends you at the exact same time. And believe me, this movie will do that for you. The comedy in this movie may not be for everybody. If you're a fan of shows like Portlandia or The Whitest Kids You Know, then this movie might be right up your alley. The bad news is that I couldn't find it streaming anywhere. I might be wrong, maybe you can find it, but as of right now, I couldn't find it on any of the streaming services out there. Period, for rent, streaming with commercials. So far, the only thing I could find is that it is on DVD out there. I don't believe this is out of print, but it's not super hard to find. I found my copy on Amazon, so it's out there. So keep your eyes open, people. Maybe it'll pop up on something like Tubi TV or, I don't know, HBO Max. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of another Film Geek video. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's another thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.